right, welcome back to the Will Is Podcast. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, we are back. Yeah, it's good to see me. It's good to see you guys too. It's happy to be back to put on for another show. We on a good run, so we just gonna keep running. There's a lot discussed, a lot going on in the news. It's a lot to talk about. But today we're talking about. You see the title, Global Corrupt Governments Show. Yeah, global. Why we know that? We understand, technology is the eye opener to all of we'll just jump into it. The first whip moment is American scams. United States scams, as a matter of fact. The scams. See, the thing is they sell you a false bill of goods. They, as I meaning them. There are the rich and there are the rest of us, the people that are not so rich, but we do fairly okay in life. But hey, times get hard, times are a little challenging, times, you know, we all experience these things, but we learn how to get through it. That's what you call ingenuity. But let's get to it. American scams. That's the worst thing you can do to any person on the planet is when they feel like they've been took, when they've been hoodwinked, when they've been had, and when they just didn't get a fair exchange. That's a very god awful feeling. I don't give a damn who you are. So you can imagine how an American Indian feels. A copper colored Aboriginal, a Black American, whatever you identify with. Imagine to have been put into a system of purgatory in your own homeland, taking everything from you, when your freedom and your circumstances, and the system that was established after you winning your circumstances still forbade you and refused to give you any refuge. See, those things we had to take. It wasn't given. I think people get a real false misconception about the real times. This book here, Black Nation, Voices of a Black Nation. If I read you right, and I have read this book before, but I can read you a lot of stories, a lot of real life stories that was going on in the current times. Questions of identity. Black Americans look for a commission. You see what I'm saying? Like, let's get to some of these. Roscoe Dundee, Black Ditch Batch, Oklahoma. Check this out. By far the most perplexed problem I have faced during my adult years rests in the determination of the attitude that I assume towards communism. For the past 7 years, I am frank to say, my mind has been a virtual chaos on the important subject. Today, my orientation is not complete. I always have argued that sooner or later the poor white man here in America must come to the realization that his economic problems are wrapped up with the interest of the Negro. That the ruling class, whites, have subtly kept the masses of the two races apart. During the past 20 years, I have stood on many platforms and proclaimed this doctrine to mixed audiences. The mental picture I have carried of the doctrine of mixed audiences, the mental picture that I've carried of the day when the two races would sit down side by side on the basis of equality and brotherhood, has always been my rainbow. To my counter-nation today, however, developed out of the faith, and I have at my door a poor white man who talks, acts, and preaches the kind of sort of equality about which across the years I have given sanction. He wants to fight about it. He calls meetings and steps and he calls meetings and stages parades. Boldly he carries banners through the streets of Dixie with the inscription which fairly screams and says, all of my provisions demoted, citizenships must vanish. Jim Crow, segregation, and anti-marriage laws. Yes, everybody which has herether separated the white and black here in America is denounced by this poor white. This same white man who preaches brotherhood and equality has, however, his faults as well as his virtues. With one mighty arm, he draws me into his embrace, while the other hand he casts booms at our exiting governmental systems. His economic nostrums are anti-individualistic. Fear grips me to say alliances with him may cause the seldom used Negro labor unit to be boycotted. Alliances with him may destroy the black man's traditional record of loyalty towards stars and stripes. What the black man's attitude should be towards this complex situation is the burning issue. Here, standing at the door, is a poor white who heretofore has constituted the major portion of the mob, who these words that they used back in hitherto has joined with the ruling class of denying us equality and opportunity. Shall we turn our back upon the communist entirely because of his political notions and economic theories, or shall we join with him in wrecking the vicious social barriers which he voluntarily expresses a desire to destroy? Communism is a political and economic theory, does not meet a join fully with my ideal notion of government. Regardless of the foregoing viewpoint, I believe some definite course should be charted by Negro leadership with reference to communism. I believe and this is a book, this is just for educational purposes, I might add. I believe we today, standing on the brink of revolutionary changes on our social and racial attitudes, whatever the trend, Negro leadership should not overlook the chance to make the most of his moment. Now, this is 100 years ago. And the beautiful part about it is this is extremely relevant today. This is 100 years ago, ladies and gentlemen, 100 years ago. I'll continue to read. The radical of today is the controversy of tomorrow. 10 years ago, the NAACP was certified by many dangerous to American institutions. So also were the abolitionists. Prior to the Civil War, in those days, motives and objectives were inputted to these two liberty-loving organizations, which were fair from just and fair. The world has long since learned to accept and respect the brotherhood and just in these two militant organizations. It is entirely possible that history may repeat itself. Get it? The Negro, he feels, the radicalism of communism today may be classified by black leadership for another and future generations as traitors to the cause of liberty. The important question for the Negro to decide in the method of which he may cement into lasting bonds of friendships this new relationship between the whites and blacks of America. With the bomb under his arm, yet love in his heart for me, what shall I do about it? Does the unsanitary looking human being holding within the grasp of a rainbow of promise and the power which I so surely need. It's communism, the instrumentality through which I am to secure the racial opportunity which for years I have longed for and prayed. So the perplexed identities, even back then, even with the Marxism in the Negro, W.E.B. Du Bois, and this is the crisis of May 1933. That was 92 years ago. So there's a whole perplexed type of ideologies that if you just read and understand the many aspects of how these things never change, and these ideologies are always and always have been here for us to discover, study, and bring notice to. It's nothing new. These ideologies, these perspectives, these things that people study in schools and act as if these aren't the same specific issues that hinder us today as a society as a whole. So let's get to the next moment. Whites have no connection. See, a lot of times whites have no connection with land because they're very disoriented and very extremely defensive. They're defensive about and how they circle the wagons about, their fabricated love stories that they share in their form of history. And those are just untrue depictions because you were never on a struggling or never on a side of well, you were, but you completely hide those concepts. You completely hide when you had a body full of hair. You completely hide when you were actually civilized. You tend to leave so much out of your history. It's quite ridiculous. See, your whole conception of enlightenment is I've learned what somebody else was doing and I've taken it from them. That's not enlightenment. That's called theft. Okay? That's specifically not enlightenment. Enlightenment is when you understand the power of humanity, you understand the power of unity, you understand the power of justice, you understand the power of empathy and sympathy and love for your fellow man, of how to enjoy your likenesses, your differences, and how to make those things up, bring us out of a form of space to where we are fighting and robbing and pillaging each other. See, that's not what you would call a form of humanity. That's a form of well, you know what you're doing. We just have to let you know that we are aware that we know what you're doing. So now we understand that no, it's not a secret. We don't give a shit. Oh, well, that's quite evident you don't give a shit. Yeah, that's you make that quite plain. You don't give a shit. So what we have to do is we have to make sure we give a shit about ourselves. Because if we don't give a shit about ourselves, we know that you don't. So we have to put people in positions that do what government is supposed to do. Government is not, we don't work for the government. The government's supposed to work for us. We don't supposed to be enriching you. You have a ways to do a job and we put you to work to do a job the way we need you to do it. So if you understand these things work out, first of all, it works locally. So in your local government, if they're not manicuring and keeping up the sidewalk, and you get to petition for these things, you get to make them pull or position or budget money because these are the things that you like. You got to learn how to sit on City Hall. You got to get involved. You can be 25 years old and run for Congress. I think a lot of you young, creative Black men and women, I think that is your assignment. I think that's one thing you should be doing first and foremost. If you have no criminal records, study political science, study history, study this country, study how your people have been treated, and change all of it. You could be 25 years old, a congressperson, and very diligent and win these districts. You don't have to wait till you're old and become a failed person like a bunch of these people are. They're a bunch of failed people that was in business and couldn't make decisions then, they can't make decisions now. So they use Congress to get rich and just get lobby checks in order to, sit up like a fat rat and not make one damn decision that helps nobody but their fat asses. That's kind of how that goes. So the thing is, these things have to be changed. And I think young people, it's time, young, justice minded, forward thinking, build your world. A lot of us, build a just world, take care of the old, make opportunities for the young, bring these home prices down for, people that want to start in life, that want an affordable home. Everybody don't want the most lavish big mansion. Some people just want to be comfortable and live how they want to live. But see, these corrupt governments, you got these, again, these corporations buying up every single piece of property to make people pay what they want them to pay for rent. These houses should be for sale, not for rent. If people can pay these ridiculous um, um, rent for renting these houses, man, my heart goes out to you. You know, it makes it hard to invest. It makes it hard to do anything other than what you are positioned to do is, robotically make money until you have to invest to start doing something else though. You gotta put your time and energies and effort into being, what you need to be to provide other ways and other means of income for you and your family. But you got the ability to create, you got the ability to hustle, you got the ability to grind, So I'm not making this is not an excuse making sure we're just putting a little paint where it ain't. You understand what I'm saying? You have to use the advantages that are out here and be aware and know how to do something that's going to benefit you for yourself as well. That has to happen. So this is just awareness. These are the things that we make you aware about, so you know how to pivot through them and focus on the things that you have to do, because you already know this shit is corrupt. This shit's bad. So let's get through some more whoop moments. All right. Intangible illusions. Intangible illusions. Intangible illusions are what you would call selling yourself a dream. If you're gonna sell yourself an illusion, don't break your heart. That's all I can tell you. Do not break your own heart. Stay within a realistic realm of how you want to orchestrate your day. Put that into time and effort so that you can make something tangible and not intangible. Start small. Start small. Start with learning how to make better decisions and saving money. That's a very, very, very tangible equation to do, regardless of what. Save some money. Start a business. Um, um, Whatever you are dreaming, make it come to light. Start small. And that's how you develop things. That's how you make things come into fruition. You understand what I'm saying? You can't leave those type of things up to other people, because somebody has to run the world. You young folks, I think you're brilliant. I never thrash you young, brilliant minded, beautiful people around the globe. You're brilliant. This is your world. I think you got to take charge of it. So I think understanding infrastructure, understanding uniform commercial code, understanding how things function. Go to school, take trade schools. You can learn a lot of these things in trade. And you can also learn a lot of these things with actual, practical application. You know what I'm saying? OJT, on the job training. So in some instances, older people like myself and older guys that have businesses, they love a mentor, and they like to share knowledge and to employ responsible people, people with a good sense of understanding, has some wisdom, probably been around the block a time or two. They come up on these wonderful opportunities that are great and that are very valuable. And when you get that connection with that person, they're basically transcending success to you. They're giving you an opportunity, a skill set, a way forward in life that's going to feed you. You understand what I'm saying? That's going to provide you an income. It's gonna get them. You know what I'm saying? Keep it from starving. And in some instances, they want you to take it to the next level. You already got a platform. Make it substantial. Take it even higher. Improve it. Better it. Um, Franchise it even. So that's where your mindsets need to be. Building, orchestrating, pushing your wheel into your success, your equation. Let's get to the next what moment. We're gonna keep it positive tonight because we already know what's in front of us. Okay, worldwide lies. See, again, back to the internet is undefeated. The internet pushes us past the worldwide lies. The internet pushes us past these misconceptions and deceptions that plague us from knowing and understanding and learning that this is our world. This is nobody else's world. This is our world. But we have to make it suitable, and we have to be good custodians to the planet, because whatever you yield should come back. You have to set that type of temperament. You have to set that type of order of operations within your life personally in order to keep fundamentally achieving that type of success. But if in order to keep doing it, you have to be diligent, you have to be persistent, and you have to be consistent. Consistent as possible can be. You have to forge and push through. You have to be different. You have to set yourself apart. So to set yourself apart, you can't be really distracted by feedback. You can't be distracted. I tell you my method. They say, damn, how you do so many shows? Because I don't give, because when I'm done with this show, it's done. It's over with. That's it. So on to the next one. That's how it goes. So whatever I am distributing today is what I'm distributing right now. And that's the order of operations when it comes to defending yourself against these global corruption and governmental, systems that plague you, because you have to move in a way of orchestrating of how to make a change for you and your family, and making good connections in order to have a forward thinking movement with people and their thought process. And that's what I challenge a lot of things. And I know a lot of things that I say people are very uncomfortable with because they probably never heard them before. I show them books that people probably never even thought existed. But when people put a lot of time, energy, and effort, research, have resources and references and archaeological evidence, geographical evidence, I mean, the sad part about it is you can show people so much evidence and give them. Hold on. Wait a minute. What is this? Wait a minute. All right. Give me a second, people. Give me 1 second. All right. 1 second here. All right, let me check something out. Real quick here. No, I can't be. That says, what's this? Oh, CPU usage. Okay, I need to go in there and fix that. That's fine. I understand. I had to read something right real quick. Second here. All right. Give me a few takes for a second, my people. Give me 1 second. All right. So give me 1 second here. All right. Here we go. We're back. Sorry about that. Just a little tuning up I had to do with something else. All right. So let's get back to it. I know I lost my train of thought, so let me go ahead and get back to the whip moment. We was talking about worldwide lives, but let's go ahead and talk about um, instances in relationship having to deal with people that want to be on top, you know, top and bottom. The top, some people want the feeling and the identity of being, oh, just so, they feed on that. The reason why they feed on it because they don't have it fundamentally. So they have to constantly tell themselves how great they are and how wonderful they are and how you know they how they're so accomplished. And when in all actuality, it's not. It's only about the accomplishments if you're comfortable, but it's also about the experience. The experience is very very important because when you have the experience, you know better than to do what you have done previously. Experience makes you enhance or make things lighter for your path forward so that you can consume and do other things. And that's what it's about. It's about achieving to go forward to do other things. But let me tell you about some roadblocks. Let's get to the next what moment. The roadblock, number one roadblock of all, paperwork. Boy, I tell you, that is the one hindrance of a lot of people, including myself in my early 20s. But in my early 20s, I got good at paperwork, good at understanding paperwork. And paperwork, when you say paperwork, you mean put on paper, jail. Hell no. I ain't talking about that. But I'm talking, well, we're gonna get to that. I don't do jail, but that's when you don't want to be on paper. I'm gonna tell you that shit. You don't want to be on no damn paper. And that's the one trick, the major trick. We already get into it of the dominant society, utilizing paperwork to destroy people's futures and lives. That's the biggest, coldest, most destructive weapon of all. Putting papers on people, labeling people, destroying people, putting stigmas on people, and propagating it, making it worldwide, making it something, making a lie something that's so untrue, the truth. That's the most harmful, vicious, most cruel thing you can do from one human to the next. That's the most vicious thing. Now, of course, we know physically, actually going through with a lot of your ambitions, you never talk about your ass getting whooped either, though. See, that's the thing. That's another thing they leave out. See, you could not defeat the Mississippian. You cannot defeat the Yamasee. You cannot defeat the Choctaw. You could remove them, but you can't whoop them. You couldn't beat them. But you could lock them out of the doors of Congress, stress their situations, kill the majority of them. When I mean by that, when you annihilate them like that, you take their children, raise their children, orphan their children, put their children on the streets, send their boys off when they're 12 and 8 years old to fend for themselves. That's a lot of stories of a lot of, men in my family that left home back in the 1910s and 20s. They left home at 8 to 12 years old. When you was 13, you was damn near considered a man anyway. But if you could work, if you could help your daddy, or if you was too much, if you can get out there, or you just didn't like it, you went on. You can get a job at 8 years old. But in some instances, if you wasn't that strong, you were taken advantage of. You became kidnapped and sold to foreign exchange. You were trafficked. A lot of things happened with those young boys. They were murdered. They were unalive. They were, taken advantage of. So That's what the likes of the Delectable Negro, the book I really do refer to when I tell you about um, this is nothing new. It's just the information age. So they have been always um, molesting and throwing away black boys um, ever since the days of England and King James. King James was a habitual boy child molester, and he was a very sadistic person. And his lover was George of Buckingham Palace to this very day. Yeah. So there are a lot of things that people that you don't understand the fabric of the illnesses that exist within these dominant societies. It exists in the fabric. Um, as again, even a lot of times we're dealing with unknown circumstances of people's families. People get themselves in harm's way. They get you end up in a get out situation. So in some instances. But let's get to the next moment. See, the problem with again, paperwork. Paperwork can traumatize the hell out of you. People are convicted of crimes when they were convicted before they were even. The judge didn't look at them. The judge didn't even know who they were. They were just convicted. No research. No no detective work. No discovery. No investigation. Just guilty. They made fun of movies like that. You remember Life? Y'all remember Life? When that was that movie, they say, two men, and they made a joke out of it, but that shit wasn't funny. Just wasn't funny. Damn, it just wasn't funny. But it was funny as hell. Yeah, it was. It was funny. Okay, I'm just joking. Yeah, Life was one of the funniest movies, but it was funny, but it's just, if you think about it, it wasn't funny. Damn. You got to be talented as hell to make a movie about being in jail all them years. And that was not, you were innocent. You didn't do it. But you were guilty before you even got to the courtroom because of who actually did do the crime. So little small towns, those they can actually create a movie like that because you understand it didn't come out of their head. It just wasn't. It was a horrible, very horrible, terrible situation. But it's happened unjustly time and time again in this country. So paperwork. Boy, I tell you. The trick of the devil. Paperwork. So also, brighter side of paperwork is always keep your paperwork in line too, even for successful people that make plenty of money and that do these, podcasts. You might want to think about some financial management, financial resources, make things easier on yourself, and you need to put some of that money away when you whatever business you're into. There is a thing called a rainy day fund that you may need and that you may want and that you're gonna have to have. All of us work towards those type of things, and when you're at a certain level in life. But even when you're younger, you should practice those things when you're young, when you have the means, because you want to be able to take care of yourself when you get my age. So very important to think about the future and use your vision, use your mind to think about the ways in which you want to move forward in life, because it's extremely important at some point. For real, for real. That's just one of my old school moments for you motherfuckers. All right. The one thing that annoys me is confused melanated folk. The kumbaya Negroes that want to get along with everybody, that's fine, but you have no dignity at some point. It's got to be a day in life where you got to have some dignity and practice some dignity for yourself because you make it harder on people like me. The reason why some people say and do some of the things that they do is because they're around sucker ass Negroes, people that allow that shit. And then you have to go to correcting people to a whole nother type of level because they didn't know. Yeah. But as I was saying, we have to get people in check because all black people don't put up with that shit. No. No, you're not gonna talk to me crazy. You're not gonna practice your I'm white and I say so. We are much more eloquent, intelligent, and we have learned our way out of that whole apparatus, that old bullshit way of thinking. So, and I appreciate you younger folks out here because God knows I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of your prowess. I'm proud of your intelligence. I'm proud of your ingenuity. If your parents ain't telling you, I'm telling you, I'm proud of you. Shit, I mean, you're younger than me. I call you little bro, little sis. Nephews out there. You know what's happening. I'm proud of you guys for just showing up, man. You got all these young people in business. You got them in engineering. You got people that my class we represent too. But the young folks that are doing a good job, and y'all just keep on doing great. And for the ones that ain't doing so great, hey, keep your head up, get a trade. You know what I'm saying? Put some humility up under yourself. You know what I'm saying? And start something new. Start something that you like. You just keep being creative. That's what you need to do. Keep being damn creative. You'll figure it out because and a lot of times some of y'all might need to be. I know y'all probably not gonna like me saying this, but I think a lot of y'all need to be law enforcement. Law enforcement is a very, very, very lucrative way of making change in society, and for black men and for black men specifically. What's wrong with going along? Yeah, you shouldn't be scared. You should be the main one, black men and women. You should be the main ones wanting to go into law enforcement, changing it from the inside. That's a good thing. Don't be scared of them boys. Put them in jail. You know what I'm saying? You can do it. Hey, they doing bad. Hey, be that one. Be great. Dare to be great, whatever you do. Always be just. You know what I'm saying? Don't be a punk ass. Let me see. For the next foot moment. Another thing that aggravates the shit out of me are liars. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Man, liars are just some of the most untrustworthy, grotesque people that ever crawled out of their mama's ass. I promise you. It's ridiculous. They make everything wrong. They make every fucking thing go bad. I promise you they do. Lying alters reality. Do you understand that? That's the power in lying. It alters reality. Literally, it does. It's not just because what you're doing is you're controlling a person's emotions, and they make decisions about the internal or the level of trust that you two share, or that whoever shares. So when you when you lie to a person that loves you, lie to a person, to that degree, man, that's pretty cold blooded. You're pretty cold. That's soulless. So, or lying is just simply grotesque, and it's not good business. It's not a good reputation. It's just something that should be people should be held accountable for lying. And I think in the world we're living in today, the dominant society doesn't want to be accountable for anything, any fucking thing, nothing at all. Like they don't want to be accountable for shit, but they want you to be accountable for every damn thing. Isn't that some do as I say, not as I do shit? That shit's crazy. It's ridiculous. Let's get to the next one moment. So in these times of this, I would say, discovery of individualistic culture, it's not wise to try to lean on anybody. Your ass may fall. Don't lean on nobody. Strengthen yourself. Start with your core and your mind. Start with your mind first. Strengthen your mind. Get used to being uncomfortable just a little bit. You know, it keeps you aware, it keeps you sharp, keeps you alert, and it lets you know to keep your head on a swivel. So get comfortable being uncomfortable. That may sound strange, that may sound a little funny to some people. If you have never been in a situation, well, I'm a combat veteran, so there you have it. But if you have never been in a situation where you have never been to the point where you're uncomfortable, but you had to make yourself comfortable to get to the next day, you may not know what you're made of. Let me get to the next one. See, it's very important every once in a while, if you feel yourself slipping, if you feel yourself, not as productive as you would like to be, if you feel like you need to strengthen your skill sets, give yourself a new deal. Always think about that. Give yourself a new deal. Set new precedents, reset, get your mind right, do what it takes in order for you to give yourself a new deal with you. Remember how I always tell you to love yourself? Always have the ability to just love and appreciate yourself. Keep that shit. Keep appreciating yourself. Because if you don't, you'll fall below the wayside. So it's better to establish a new deal. Give yourself a new deal. Give yourself a break sometimes. Shit, people fuck up. But always be lenient on yourself. Give yourself enough grace to give yourself a new deal. Because as you can see the title of the show, they won't. They like paperwork. They like bullshit. They like property. They like destroying and beating you down, taxing your ass and shit. Yeah, man, they don't care. We have to establish ourselves and put ourselves into those intricate positions, into those places, into the infrastructure. Now it's time to be active. It's time to be active. It's time to activate as people. Y'all guys are young. You got the energy, you got the effort, you got the mindset, and you got guidance, you got influence. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, get out there and show us what you know. I'm rooting for you. I promise you. Those are not my plans, but I promise you guys, you're worth it, man. And I think it's a lot of you that are quite intelligent enough to be the new champions of the globe. It's for you wonderful, beautiful, smart, intelligent young folks. I love you guys. But that's the show tonight, man. I love you. I appreciate you. You're young. You got that beautiful mind, but keep it full of morals and ethics. Don't get caught up in this bullshit, man. It's the corruption. It's easy to get your ass into it, but it's hard to get up out because they put a lot of people on their ass when they talking about loyalty. So you see what not to do, don't do it. Keep your morals, keep your ethics, keep your values, keep your character. Stay intact. Stay one with everybody. Stay one with yourself. So I love you. I appreciate you. That's the show tonight. And understand this, you guys. The will is yours. Don't forget that. You keep that. Hold that. We love you. We appreciate you. Get it. We'll holler at you. Peace.